Hey, good morning. All right, so in my experience, what every successful entrepreneur, practitioner, leader has in common is that their nervous system is both regulated and expanded for success, and their brain has been trained to match what they want. This allows them to anchor their identity and their reality in what is possible rather than what has been or what is happening now. And that anchoring of their identity and what is possible is what allows them to move beyond, to break through upper limits and ceilings, and to not experience overwhelm in the process of expansion. I see many entrepreneurs setting expansive goals, putting in the work, doing all the things they need to do, only to hit that upper limit. Or they fall short on their goals, like they're almost there but not quite. Or they reach their goals, potentially, but they're totally overwhelmed and burned out. Either way, I see a lot of entrepreneurs ending up very confused and very frustrated as to what is the process of creating sustainable, simple, satisfying results that they can replicate, they can duplicate, they can be consistent with. Oftentimes, when we fall short of our goals, it's not that our strategy doesn't work or that our goal is too big. Oftentimes, it's because our nervous system and our brain is conditioned, they're conditioned to match our current circumstance. They're conditioned to match our current results rather than what is possible for us. When I work with people and I see that happening, there's the other thing too, is our brain and our nervous system are programmed to keep us exactly where we're at. They're programmed to keep us at that plateau because that plateau feels safe, it feels normal, it feels comfortable, and in some way it is what our body expects. So it is what we create, it is how we're wired, what we're wired, the range we're wired to essentially produce at. And until I met and I sensed what was possible for me, until I met who I could be inside me, I got a felt sense of who I could be and what I could create, and I figured out how to rewire my own neurocircuitry, my own biochemistry to be that person. Until I essentially did the work to shift my nervous system, my brain, and my thoughts and feelings so that I could really embody that new identity and that new reality, I was not able to create the results I wanted in a sustainable way. I wasn't able to execute my plan consistently and powerfully. And I wasn't able to hold the results I wanted over time. So I would get a really big month and then it would fall away and it would be the desert and I couldn't replicate it. Partially because when I would get these big results, something in me would have what I call the oh shit moment and start to contract again because it wasn't in line with my identity at the time. My capacity was too small. And because my capacity was too small, my results were also small. And this is what this work is about. It's about expanding our capacity to achieve, to receive, and to hold more from the inside out. And it's about doing that first so that when things start to move, the momentum starts to pick up, the results we want start to show up, we are actually able to sustain them. We're able to replicate them. We're able to hold them with a bunch of ease and joy. Hey, Sharon. Essentially, what we're talking about here is being able to anchor our entire being, not just our minds, but our body, our nervous system, our brain, our biochemistry, into what is possible instead of what has been or even what is. So in this live, that's what I'm going to explore with you guys a little bit. I'm going to explore what it means to dwell in possibilities and what it means to rewire ourselves for possibilities. And I'm going to share with you why it's specifically important for you if you are an entrepreneur, why this is really important in marketing and sales and in growing a sustainable business that you're going to love long term. And then I'm going to give you a little exercise, something you can do to really start to feel into that sense of possibilities for you, to really sense into who it is that you would be if you were deeply anchored in possibilities, so that you can start to use it in your own business and in your own life, and you can start the rewiring process on your own. Before I get into the meat of it all, I'm going to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Ilsa. I'm a total spiritual nerd. I'm a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, a strategist, and for almost 20 years at this point, I've been teaching my clients how to rewire themselves, their nervous system, their lives, their identity, their relationships, and their business for more. So if you want expansive growth and more easeful receiving, in your life, in love, in work, in wealth, then I offer a 90-minute one-on-one intensive that I called Wired for Wealth with me at 55% off for people who are new to me. And in this intensive, we essentially discover the nervous system blocks that have been holding you back, and then I teach you exactly how to come out of contraction back into expansion, so that you can start receiving, repairing, recoding your nervous system to feel safe, to feel easeful, to feel playful in creating, receiving, and having more in your life and in your career. So if you want to do this with me, you can click the description of the link in the description. Okay, so let's come back to this concept of rewiring ourselves for infinite possibilities. So if you have a goal to create some kind of more expansive experience for yourself, to achieve bigger, better results in your life and in your business, the thing you have to keep in mind is that you must first recalibrate your nervous system and train your brain to dwell in the possibilities of that. You have to anchor your identity in what is possible. If not, you won't be able to hold it. You won't be able to literally execute the plan to create it. By recoding our nervous system for possibilities, what we're doing is we're literally normalizing the results we desire in our bodies and in our brain first. And by doing that, we make what might have felt impossible, we make that not only possible, but almost inevitable, both for ourselves, and we actually do that for our clients too. So when we are dwelling in possibilities for ourselves, that's when we can start to also see what's possible for our clients. I talk a lot about normalizing because for me, one of the trick here is to teach the nervous system to be really relaxed, really regulated, really open with what we want before we've even created it, before we even have it, so that it feels normal, it feels second nature, it feels like the next right step for us. What happens when you do that is that when things start to move, you don't sabotage it, you don't take your foot off the gas, you don't get overwhelmed by the results you're creating and start to say, oh, maybe I don't want that, maybe it's too much, maybe it's too fast. Because it's become normalized in you, like at a neurocircuitry, biochemical type of level. So true success for me is designing a business, a marketing strategy, and an amazing offer that is rooted in the field of infinite possibilities and is also in real alignment and partnership with your nervous system, because that is what is going to allow it to be really simple and really sustainable long term. And the only way to really create that, to really be in that field of infinite possibilities, is to commit to doing business in partnership with our nervous system, with our brain, making sure essentially that our wiring, our neurocircuitry, our biochemistry is anchored in possibilities, in that expansion, so that our nervous system can be an ally It can be a partner to us rather than something that's actually going to sabotage the journey and is going to resist results. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Success, first and foremost, is a decision. Success always starts when you decide that change, growth, transformation, more is possible for you. And it's possible for you doing it your way, not doing it somebody else's way. The number one reason, and this is why I think, I'm going to touch on this a couple times, but this is why I think being able to rewire ourselves for infinite possibilities, it's so important as a business owner, because for me, the number one reason people don't buy from us, or the number one reason people don't show up and do the work once they've bought for us, it's not that they don't have the money, or it's not that they don't have enough time, or it's not that their lives have gone crazy, or whatever excuses they're giving us. The number one reason that a client says no, or that a client or a potential client says no, and a client self-sabotages their process and their progress, is they don't believe that the transformation they desire is possible for them. And so rather than trying and getting disappointed, feeling rejected or betrayed, they just don't go there. Possibilities, knowing, feeling that something is possible, is the first step to any kind of expansion. Yeah, Sharon says, my own healing and transformation needs to be foremost. We cannot support others. We cannot show others the pathway to expansion, whether that expansion is in health, losing weight, building a business, doesn't matter. Increasing the love and intimacy in their relationship, all of it is a form of expansion. But we can't hold people's expansion. And mostly, we can't show up that possibilities is possible. Possibilities is possible. We can't show them what's possible for them if we ourselves are not anchored in the field of possibilities, if we ourselves are not anchored in expansion. This is why so much of sales is actually helping clients expand into what is possible for them and start in the sales process to rewire their nervous system and their brains for that possibilities, because their current neurocircuitry, their current nervous system, their current brain, their current hormonal cocktail that they're experiencing in their body, their current thoughts, their current beliefs, their current feelings, everything about them is wired for what has been, is wired for what is. It's not wired for what could be. And that, as a leader, is your big job, is to hold what could be for your client before they can do it for themselves. And people only buy when they are anchored and they are seeing, they are open to what could be. Yeah, the hormonal cocktail. Well, in the end, that's what it's all about, right? Emotions are just hormones. So if we're in contraction, there's a certain, our brain is flooding our body, our cells, our organs with a certain mix that's very unique to each of us, right? Like the way I experience anxiety is quite different than the way you experience anxiety. But what I know is that most of us are used to the way we feel, even if what we feel doesn't feel good. So if we're used to experiencing a lot of self-doubt is literally a specific cocktail of hormones, and that gets flooded through us. It's hard to shift self-doubt until you start shifting that chemistry on the inside, and you start teaching your brain how to literally create a new cocktail, essentially. So we, by the way, are like our clients. The number one reason we don't reach our goals, the number one reason we sabotage our progress, we take our foot off the gas too soon, We get stuck in self-doubt. We pivot and change things too often. We stall our progress. We stay stuck at a plateau. We procrastinate. We make things harder than they actually need to be. The first number one reason we don't ask for help, or we don't ask for what we actually want, is because we don't believe it's possible for us. Our internal wiring is not anchored in possibilities, is not anchored in what could be. It's anchored in what has been. Something, as long as something in us doesn't believe that what we want is possible for us, we won't dare to try something different. We won't dare to experiment. We won't dare to really go for it. Or even if we go for it, we won't go for it at the level that we could, because we don't want to be disappointed. We don't want to feel rejected. We don't want to feel disheartened, frustrated, confused at the end. So it's better to hold back. Yeah, all those hormonal cocktails are totally related to the stories we tell about ourselves, the story we tell about what's possible for us, the stories we tell about what's going to be hard, what's going to be easy. It's all story and chemistry in many ways. So at the root of our struggle is the fact that we haven't rewired ourselves to know that what we want is not only possible and doable for us, but with the right rewiring, it's inevitable. We are stuck in that old paradigm rather than in the new one we're trying to create. And we're trying to create a new paradigm literally with roots in an old one, like deep ingrained roots in an old one. And we wonder why it's hard, why we struggle. So if your nervous system and your brain doesn't think that something is possible, if it doesn't see your goal that you have for yourself as the next level, as normal, as the natural next step, and if your nervous system doesn't feel comfortable with that goal that you have and doesn't expect it, like, of course, then it's going to resist and sabotage your progress. Yeah, contraction is always a part of expansion. In some way, here's the deal. Contraction actually shows you where you need expansion. Like, the tightness is actually a request. A contraction is a request from something inside you for expansion. It's like something inside you is saying, hey, I'm struggling here. I have self-doubt. I don't know how to move forward. I'm stuck here. I need some help. And it actually shows us exactly where we need to go to do the rewiring work. What kind of cocktail, hormonal cocktail, is being flooded that needs to be re-recipeed, so to speak. So for success, to reach your goals, you must recalibrate your nervous system and train your brain to match the life, the business, the results you want. And you have to make sure that in here, not just up here, but in here, it feels possible. Because if it doesn't feel possible, it literally is impossible. And here's the thing. As I shared earlier, if you actually do break through a plateau and you don't do the work of calibrating your nervous system and training your brain for that next level, you won't be able to sustain it. You won't be able to duplicate your results or enjoy them. They will feel like too much. And so that's when you see people get stuck in that yo-yo pattern, that feast and famine, like a bunch of new clients, nothing for months, feeling really excited and having momentum, and then feeling drained because they're literally pushing through that upper ceiling and it hasn't been normalized in them to sustain it. So let me go back a little bit and do a little more talking about how this affects sales and marketing and why it's so important for business growth. Usually when a client decides to work with us, it's because through that first conversation, they can sense that We know what's possible for them. We have a feeling and an idea, a sense of what is possible for them. And we know that in a way that is clearer than they can see for themselves. When we, as leaders, as practitioners, or as entrepreneurs, are anchored in expansion, we're anchored in what is possible, literally we can start to see and feel and sense the potential in the person across from us. We can sense we can articulate what these possibilities are, what's available for them, the kind of life, the kind of transformation they desire. And when we are anchored in that sense of possibilities, in that expansion, and we're able to articulate it, that's when we can start to paint a picture and bring them along for the journey. Help them see it, help them sense it for themselves, so that they can make a decision to move forward working with us or not from this place of expansion. Essentially, we can help them feel secure and see the path forward to their goal with the right support. It's our own expansion, our own attunement to what is possible that allows us to sense their potential and allows us to articulate it so that they can sense their potential and they can claim that possibility for themselves. Essentially, expansion is what sells. It's what people want, and it's what sells. It literally, expansion puts your potential client in direct contact with the future that they want, not just as an idea, but as a felt experience, which is why I often say to my clients, don't sell the features of your offer, sell the future that becomes possible when that person decides to work with you. So people don't buy features, they buy futures. Yeah, we can literally help them feel the new reality. And I think this is the important part about this work. It's not about a new belief. It's not about a new mindset. It's not about a new idea. It's about feeling. Yeah, quotable quotes. Yeah, people don't want features, they want futures. It's about the feeling. So sales is about feeling. And when you shift a potential client's feeling about where they're at and where they're going and what is possible for them, you literally start to shift the biochemistry in their bodies. You literally start to shift their identity into a new version of themselves for whom the future they desire is possible. That sense of possibility is powerful. It's expansive. It is what gives us the courage and the motivation to move forward, to go after our dreams, to get back up when we have a setback. It's what gives us the motivation and the courage to move forward even when it feels scary, even when the path is a little unclear, like we're not quite sure what our next step is, or we're not quite sure what the result is going to be. And that's true for us as entrepreneurs, but it's also true for the people who work with in terms of taking that step to work with us. Yeah, you absolutely do that using sound frequency. Sound frequency, I mean, there's a lot of research out there about how it changes your brain waves. When you change your brain waves, you change the chemistry. It's all interrelated. Your nervous system expands. It's powerful work. So when we're calibrated to and in resonance with possibilities, it isn't that we know exactly what to do, or it isn't that we know the exact outcome of our goal. But we do develop this unwavering trust that everything we need to succeed is in here, that we have it, that our success is possible, and that no matter what, we're going to figure it out. It is that unwavering trust that kind of creates a sort of calm, a sort of confidence and certainty that opens doors. When we calibrate to what's possible, we start to open both inner doors in terms of like creativity and what I call right brain genius, but also external doors in terms of like serendipitous opportunities that start to show up for us. That sense when our nervous system, our biochemistry is literally wired and in alignment with what is possible. It's like we have an unwavering knowing that we have the capacity and the ability to win, even if we don't know exactly how we're going to do it. That's what's important. Knowing that we can figure it out, knowing that the capacity and the ability is here is what's important. That sense of calm, that sense of confidence, that sense of certainty makes us essentially feel deeply safe. Safe to go after what we want, safe to show up, safe to ask, safe and willing to be rejected, to be disappointed if that's what it takes. And that sense of calm, confidence, and certainty also makes us very magnetic to those who are meant to work with us because, again, they can sense that expansion. They can sense that paradigm of possibilities in us, and it is what they want for themselves. This was my path. For a long time, I struggled until I was able to expand my nervous system and shift my biochemistry and train my brain for more. I had an okay business. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, right? Like, so I had an okay business. I did wonderful work with clients. I loved my work, but I was underpaid. I never had as many clients as I wanted. And no matter what I did, I couldn't quite break past this plateau or this place where I was, the ceiling that I was stuck at. So you see, my nervous system, my biochemistry was literally in resonance with a range. And that's true for all of us. We're usually in resonance for range, whether it's health and energy, whether it's money, whether it's happiness, whether it's clients, it doesn't matter. Our nervous system lives in a range. Our brain lives in a range. Usually we don't go under that range and we can't quite move above that range. And that was me. Like, my business is pretty stable. I never like dipped below that lower level, that floor, and I could never get past that ceiling, at least not in a sustainable way. The work I'm talking about is about literally making your ceiling your new floor. So that you can, but to do that, you have to recalibrate your nervous system for it. Everything in me back then, literally, from my brain to my biochemistry to my nervous system, lived in that range, was a match for that range. My thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs were in service to and in alignment with that range. Everything about me was about keeping me nicely safe and comfortable within that range. And that's true for most of you. That's the work. Shifting what the nervous system expects, what the nervous system feels safe with, what the nervous system deems as normal so that we can achieve it with more years. Here's the thing. Who you are, and I'm going to use money here because that's an easy example and most of us can understand. But who you are at 50K, at 100K, or at 1 million is different. And I don't mean just the way you think is different and there's things you do in your business are different. Of course, that's true. But I literally mean your biochemistry's level. Each level has a scent. Each level has a unique signature that shows up in the level of regulation and expansion of your nervous system that you experience. Each level has a specific hormonal combination or cocktail, your own cocktail that's unique to you at that level. So like the hormonal cocktail of me at 50K is going to be very different than the hormonal cocktail of you at 50K. Each of us is unique. We're unique in terms of us, but we're unique in terms of how we experience each level. That 50K cocktail is literally flooding your body, or that 100K cocktail is flooding through your body all the time. Each level has specific and recurring thoughts, attitudes, feelings that you experience. You can't put 50K you in a 500K reality. Just like you can't put a 4-year-old in her mother's high heel shoes. Nothing's good going to come out of it. Literally, your feet aren't big enough to fit that role. You don't have the capacity to hold it. So our big job essentially is to shift everything within us that is in service of wherever we're at, and to shift that to be in service of where we want to be and to be in alignment with where we want to be. Now, I'm using 50K, but it could be 100K. You can't put 100K or 200K person in a 500K business or a 500K in $1 million business without doing some work. So when you're stuck at a certain level in a range, literally that amount is wired into you. It's wired into your neurocircuitry, your biology, your biochemistry. It's become not only your identity, but your reality. Thank you. I'm not sure which metaphor. Are you talking about the 4-year-olds in high heels? By the way, I'm sure I stole that from someone that I heard, but I wouldn't be able to tell you who. But thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the metaphor. I don't know that I can claim credit for it. There's nothing new under the sun. So if you want a new reality, a new receiving reality, you need to upgrade your neurocircuitry, your biochemistry, and your identity for that new reality. It really doesn't matter where you're at. If you want a different level, you need to shift who you're being. You shift your level of expansion in your nervous system. You need to shift the kind of hormonal cocktail that is being flooded and sent through your body every day. That's the way that results become easeful. That's the way that results become sustainable and duplicatable. Duplicatable. So if you want to go from 100,000 to 500,000, you literally need to become the 500,000 version of you. But not just in thoughts, not just in beliefs, not just even in actions. Your body, your neurology, your biology needs to shift so that you have the capacity to not only create it, but also hold it. And to create it and hold it in a way that feels really simple, that feels really easeful, that's not going to demand a shit ton of sacrifice from you. Because if not, then you're going to sabotage it. This is what was true for me. Nothing worked for me until I really started tuning into the field of possibilities and shifting myself inwardly to expand and align with the new results I wanted to create. Until I sensed what was possible for me, until I met and felt who I could become, what I could create, and I figured out how to rewire myself for that. My nervous system, my biochemistry, my brain, like training my brain to be that person, to think like her, to feel like her, to act like her. I couldn't embody that identity until I did that. I wasn't able to see it. I wasn't even able to see what it would look like, how I would create it. And this is what I see a lot with clients. Like they're like, I don't know how I would go there. And this is something that shifted a lot for me. I don't care about how. If I feel like I want a next level, I trust that as I rewire myself, the clarity of the how will show up. The clarity of the how is aligned with being a new identity, with embodying a new paradigm. It's aligned with having a new biochemistry, a new nervous system, essentially. Of course you can't see how, because you're still rooted in the old way of being. You're still in what has been. You can't really see the pathway to your possibilities from what has been. You have to actually be in possibilities to see how to get there. So now I don't try to figure out how to create what I want to create. I just get real about what I want. I get real about who I need to become and the shifts I need to make internally. I teach my nervous system to get regulated with more, with that new level, to feel comfortable with that new level. And then the how tends to show up all by itself, either as an opportunity, either by watching the right video or having the right conversation, or as a download. So when my capacity was too small, my results were small. The more I increase my capacity, the bigger my results get. It's just kind of how it works. Absolutely. This is why having someone in, Sharon says, this is why having someone in your corner who sees you and sees your possibilities is key. Thank you. Absolutely. Truthfully, that is probably the number one goal of a therapist or of a coach, is for them to see and know what is possible for you, to hold and claim that possibility for yourself, to be able to almost help you embody that possibility until you can see it, you can claim it, and you can embody it for yourself. So we're expanding capacity from the inside out so that it feels really easeful and normal. Until I did that, I could not design the right business for myself, the right business model. I couldn't create the right offer. I was unclear about my pricing. I kept shifting my pricing. I could not come up with my golden thread. My golden thread is essentially what I call your unique message and your positioning. Until I shifted my internal blueprint and trained my brain for more, I kept undercharging and overgiving. I kept attracting the wrong kind of clients. I kept designing business models that I didn't want to do. I couldn't hold strong boundaries and create essentially what I desired. I kept being influenced by other people, influenced by coaches who wanted me to build my business and to do my marketing their way, even though it didn't feel good. And without doing this rewiring work, I simply could not let myself have or hold the success that I desired in a way that was simple. Because I really want a simple business in a way that felt easeful and sustainable for me, and in a way that felt deeply satisfying. When I work with clients, I use a science-based process that I call hatching. It's the name I gave it. I'm not quite sure where it came from. I think it was the concept of coming out of our shell to bring the nervous system into a deep place of regulation first. Because until you feel safe, until you feel seen, until you feel supported and proud where you are at your current level, you can't contemplate and calibrate yourself for more. I like to say that resistance is the antithesis to receiving. Receiving is literally the absence of resistance. Until you stop resisting where you are at, what is, you can't create what could be. So the first step for me is always bringing the nervous system into a deep place of peace, a deep place of openness, a deep place of feeling really good and really satisfied with who we are and where we're at. And then we start bringing in expansion, start really shifting into what could be, what is possible. And we teach the nervous system to stay regulated in expansion, because that's the other thing. Most of us are so comfortable, we're so used to where we're at, that the moment things start to shift, there can be a wobbliness with it, where we're like, oh, I don't know, is it too much? Is it too fast? What if this happened? What if that happened? The brain starts to, again, flood all these thoughts, all these beliefs, all these chemicals that are aligned with the old reality. So we have to train the brain and teach the nervous system to stay expanded, to stay calm, to stay open, to stay relaxed and regulated as we expand into more, as we receive more, as we hold more, so that we don't sabotage the whole damn thing. So that's one of the process, is like really doing nervous system work, and I have specific process that I do that. The other is I have a lot of what I call expansion hacks, and they're short guided practices, and you can do that all the time, like short ways to start to embody a new way of being, to start to shift your identity slowly, to start to anchor into a new reality. Embody that next level safely in small doses over and over and over and in different kind of ways, because we're all different. Like that's why I always tell people I know, hey, make sure that whoever you work with has a toolbox. Like you are unique. Not every, like you're going to need to find your unique tools that are going to work for you. Not There's not a single tool for everyone. But these small ways of doing that over time start to really shift the way you think. They start to shift how you feel. And that's what starts to expand your nervous system and shift the biochemical cocktail of your body that your body is used to. And start to increase your capacity for more, being a bigger version of yourself, a more peaceful, more powerful version of yourself. So what can you do to start to do this work today? I'm going to give you a little bit of something you can start to do without automatically working with me and experiencing the work with me. I want you to ask yourself these questions, and I'm going to take you through a very mini practice to try to get you to feel the answers in your body and to feel into a new possible identity for yourself where more is possible. I don't want you to just imagine it or think it. I want you to feel who you would be. Feel what could be possible. Feel how you might feel. Because here's the thing. Thoughts don't rewire you. Feelings do. Feelings are what is directly related to the way your brain is wired, to how expanded or contracted your nervous system is, and to all the chemicals that are flooding, the hormones that are flooding and moving through your body. So if you can, like if you're driving, obviously don't do that. But if you're not driving, you might even close your eyes for a minute. And you might imagine and feel into a reality where if you felt truly safe with more, if you were really fully anchored in your expansion, in your own sovereignty, so allow yourself to feel for a moment what could be possible and what it might be like to feel really safe. Really safe with where you are, but also really safe that more is coming and more is going to feel really good. If you had absolute trust in your worth and in the value of your work, in the expansion you provide people, and you were completely unapologetic of your bigness, fully willing to be unleashed, imagine yourself there, feel yourself there, truly safe, fully anchored in your own expansion, in your own certainty, anchored in a sense of absolute trust of your worth, of the value of your work, feeling unapologetic about being big and about the expansion that you can bring others. And you operated from this place. You operated from a place of deep calm, of presence, of certainty, of power. How would you feel? Allow yourself to feel that. The way that feels to me is totally different than the way that feels to you. Allow yourself to just taste the feeling of that and to allow the feeling to permeate your body. When you do that, and you do it for 3 minutes or more, you shift and start to rewire the biochemistry of your body. How would you feel in this reality? How would you show up? What becomes possible for you in that reality? Feel the possibility. Don't just imagine it. Feel them. Feel the bigness of what having possibilities feels like. What would you create in the world? Feel that. Would there be any difference to the work you do, to the model of your business, to your marketing? How might you show up in your marketing if you were that big, that safe? How would you show people what's possible for them and give them a taste of what's possible for them? So slowly you start to open and to feel into a new way of being you. The thoughts, the feelings, the posture, the sense of expansion, the desires, the different direction and opportunities and possibilities that emerge in that new identity. This is one way of starting to do this work and starting to shift the biochemistry inside you, to really feel that in every moment you can stop, you can come back home to you, and you can decide, what do I want to feel, think, do next? Who do I want to be next? And you can do that over and over and over. And the more we do it, the more we literally start to shift everything within us. That's your beginning. That is literally a small expansion hack. To begin shifting, expanding your nervous system for more, shifting and teaching, training your brain for more, and really like rewiring your biochemistry towards a new identity and a new reality. So that's what I have for you today. And if you are ready to expand out of contraction, to actually repair and recalibrate your nervous system, to train your brain for more, to shift your biology, your identity, so that you can achieve and grow and receive more with more ease, more peace, more joy, then I would love to work with you. I would love to help you anchor and live in expansion and succeed massively in life, in work, in wealth, in a way that really delights you and nourishes all of you, including your bank account, but not just your bank account. And to help people get started with that, I offer a 90-minute one-on-one Wired for Wealth intensive with me at 55% off. It's $149 to spend 90 minutes with me one-on-one. In that session, we explore and figure out exactly what are some of the nervous system wounds and blocks that have been holding you back. And I teach you my proprietary hatching process. I show you how to bring yourself out of contraction, back into expansion, so that you can receive more. And you can really start expanding and growing in from a place that is easeful and joyful. And then if you want to continue working together, then I'll give you a couple different options to fit your needs and fit your budget. If you want to book that session, just click the link in the description. It should be below the video, actually. I want you to remember that you have everything you need to succeed inside you. You are the most powerful force in your life. Your nervous system, your brain, is the path to healing your past and the gateway to your potential and the future you desire. It's all in here. It's all in you. And it's totally possible to create and receive what you want in life, in love, in business, with simplicity and with joy. But it's a lot easier to do it with someone else who, like Sharon said, can really hold what's possible for you until you can hold it for yourself. So I would love to help you unlock your potential, help you create easeful and fast results. And if you want to start that journey with me and just get a real sense of the work, then just click the link in the description and let's do some deep work together. All right, that's what I have for you. Wishing you a wonderful rest of your week and a beautiful weekend. And I'm sending you love, and I will talk to you soon. Sharon says, do it. Yes, do it. It's a lot of fun and a lot of insight and a lot of expansion. It's fun for me, and it's fun for pretty much everyone who's booked it. So I would love to have you experience it. Thanks, Sharon, for being here. It's always fun when there's somebody talking with you during these things. And mwah, thank you all. Bye.